It's hard to believe that the original Nintendo Switch is nearing the end of its life cycle. With the Switch 2 getting closer to release, I wanted to go back and take a look at some of the best Switch games. Some I would consider a must-play. I went through all the Switch games and I picked the best 10. To me, these games are what define the Switch and make it what it is today. So let's take a look at these games and see what makes them so great. The first game we have is Luigi's Mansion 3, the next game in the Luigi Mansion series. This to me was a big improvement over Luigi's Mansion 2 on 3DS. I like how it went back to having the mansion, or in this case a hotel, connected instead of it being levels like the previous game. The first thing I want to say about this game is how good it looks. I still think it's one of, if not the best looking games on the Switch. Everything is so detailed and the lighting is great, especially when lightning strikes and lights up the hallways in certain points. It really adds to the creepy atmosphere of this game. The gameplay itself feels pretty similar to the previous ones. You've got your Poltergust and you want to suck up some ghosts, but you've also got some new features as well. The most notable one being Luigi, which is a gooey Luigi clone. This makes for some pretty fun and tricky puzzles. As for the hotel you explore, it's surprisingly full of unique environments, and each of the floors for the most part feel different and unique from the rest. You've got the floor with all the shops, which was a real fun one, and then you've got the garden suite, which is overgrown with plants. There's a lot of variety here and it keeps you from getting bored. Another great thing about this game is if you get tired of playing through the story, you can take a break and check out the bonus modes. The two bonus modes are Scream Park and Scare Scraper, which you can play with friends or play alone. So not only is there a variety in levels, there's also a variety in modes too. I think my only complaint about this game would be the controls. Sometimes they're a little weird and kind of hard to control, but other than that, this game is great. It just offers so much, and if you're a fan of Luigi's Mansion, I would definitely check this game out. Now, it wouldn't be a list of must-play games on a Nintendo system without a Pokémon game, and the Switch has a lot. But which one would I say is the best out of these? I could say Scarlet and Violet since those are the newest, or I could say BDSP, but those are remakes. Whenever I think about the Switch, I think about Sword and Shield. These games are great. It sticks to the same linear world as the previous Pokemon games, but you also are introduced to the wild area, which is more open. So you kind of have the best of both worlds here. Not only that, there is also dozens of new Pokemon, which are all pretty good for the most part. And let's not forget, they brought back gyms, which was absent from the previous Sun and Moon. I hope they never take gyms out of the games again. Those are the best part for me. But what else makes these games so good? Well, most notably the unique locations you visit. This Pokemon game has some pretty standout locations, some of my favorites being Wedgehurst, which is a bit small but I love the way the houses look, plus you get a great view of the lake nearby. Another one being Balanlia, which I think I'm saying right. It feels like you've stepped into a fairy forest here, with all the bright and vibrant mushrooms. That one specifically is one of my favorites. As for the battles, they're pretty much the same as every other Pokemon game, which is completely fine for me, but there is a new Dynamax feature which causes your Pokemon to become huge. While this may not be as cool as Mega Evolutions, I do prefer it over Z moves. Another thing I want to mention is the music in this game. Some of the battle themes are awesome, and my favorite is the gym theme, especially when the people in the crowd start cheering with you and it kind of blends in with the music. It's so good. At the end of the day though, it's another Pokemon game I'd say is definitely worth checking out, especially if you like Pokemon. Next up, we have Splatoon 3. This is the second Splatoon to release on Switch, and while it may not be much different than 2 other than its campaign, it's still really good and a slight upgrade with some quality of life improvements. This game's campaign has some fun levels and bosses, but personally, where this game shines is its multiplayer. The multiplayer is the highlight of Splatoon. You have a few different modes to choose from like Turf Wars, Splat Zone, or Tower Control, and each match is fast-paced and frantic, making them so enjoyable. It's also just fun to cover the map in ink, especially if you have OCD, you'll really want to cover the whole map then. You also have a wide variety of weapons, most of which were in Splatoon 2 with a few new ones. I really like the N-Zap 85, which is pretty much just the NES zapper from back in the day. It brings back memories of playing Duck Hunt, which is why I like it so much. Anyways, you can also customize your character as well. There's so many shops in the hub area for you to buy new clothes, weapons, and other stuff as well. But overall, this game is definitely worth checking out, especially if you like multiplayer games. Next up, we have Animal Crossing. This game came out at such a great time. When everyone was stuck at home, you could just play this game and escape into a second world. You start the game by creating your own island, and while it may not be much at first, the more time you put into it, the better it becomes. Honestly, while playing this game, it's very easy to lose track of time. There's so much to do, and the more you play it, the more stuff opens up. You got your shop, Nook's Cranny, and you've also got the museum that you can fill up with bugs, fossils, and fish you've collected, and you got your own house, which can be upgraded as well. You also get a variety of villagers who will move to your island, and you can help them with stuff, and they will sometimes reward you with some really cool items. There's also a lot of secrets to discover. I remember I was just wandering around my yard at night and I found a ghost. It honestly caught me by surprise. You just never know what you're going to find while you're roaming around your island. This game is just so peaceful, and watching your island go from a plot of land with trees to a tiny town full of stuff, it's so satisfying to see. And it'll keep you playing for hours. I definitely recommend playing this one if you haven't. The next game we have is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is one of the best Kirby games we've gotten in a long time, and it almost reminds me of a 3D Mario game kind of. You play as Kirby and explore the world while traversing through multiple levels. Each level is unique and stands out on its own. You also unlock multiple power-ups, some of which have been in previous games. My favorite is Sword Fighter Kirby because he reminds me of Link with the hat and the sword. It's so cool. You've also got the new Mouthful mode where you can suck up big things like cars and drive around. There's quite a few different Mouthful power-ups to collect, and they're all really unique and fun to use. You've also got fun boss fights as well, and some of the later ones can be pretty challenging. Then you've got my favorite part, the figure collecting. Throughout the levels you'll find figures which are kinda similar to Smash Brothers trophies, although in this case they're just Kirby characters. Not only do you collect them from levels, but you can also go to the gacha machine in the hub world and spend a few coins. I spent a lot of time here trying to collect them all. I may have an addiction to this machine. This game is great if you're a fan of Kirby, and even if you're not, I definitely say it was worth it, and if you haven't played it, I would say it is a must play. Next up, we have The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I put this game here because it's the closest game we have to a classic Zelda game on the Switch. And yes, it may be a remake, but it feels so different than the original on Game Boy. The most notable difference is the art style. It looks like everything is made of clay, and it's a bit shiny too. I really like this art style, and I would love to see other games use it. Well, I guess we kind of did with Echoes of Wisdom, which is a decent game also worth checking out. This game, like I previously said, is a traditional Zelda. It's top down and has you going through dungeons, collecting new items, solving puzzles, and beating cool bosses. But the dungeons aren't the best part. I think the best part is the overworld. There's so much to do. You've got mini games to play, secrets to find, items to collect, and side quests to discover. The world isn't too big, which makes sense because it was a Game Boy game, but it feels so packed full of stuff to do. There's also a wide variety of enemies you'll face as you traverse through the multiple different environments. Heck, even some of them are from Mario. And as per usual for Zelda, the music is great as well. If you like the old style of Zelda, this game is definitely for you, and I would recommend checking it out. Next, we have the one and only original 3D Mario game to release on Switch, Mario Odyssey, and man is this game fun. It's close to being my favorite 3D Mario game in general, but I still like Galaxy just a bit more. This game is great. Mario's movement is the best in this game, so getting around the levels can be super fun. Plus you've got Cappy, which is his new ability that lets you capture and become Mario enemies. What's great about this is they all have their own unique ability, which can help you get through the level that you're currently on. And the levels, my favorite part in this game. In this game there are kingdoms, and each one is so fun to explore and vary in sizes and theme. Some of my personal favorites are the Seaside Kingdom and the Luncheon Kingdom. I actually went through and ranked all the kingdoms, so if you want to check out that video, I'll leave a link in the description below. Each of the kingdoms are full of power moons to collect, which are this game's power stars. You use the moons to power up your ship and reach new kingdoms. While some moons may be obvious, others are more challenging. Mario Odyssey also has a bunch of fun boss fights as well, but I won't mention them here and I'll let you discover them for yourself. This game just has so much going for it, and it'll keep you playing for hours, which is why I think it's a must play for the Nintendo Switch. Our next game is Smash Ultimate, and it's quite literally the ultimate Smash Bros. Game to play. You've got every character from all the previous games, you've almost got all the stages and all the items. Literally everything is here, and I don't know how they can top this game. But not only do you have everything from the previous game, you also have some new characters as well that came from the fighter passes, like Steve from Minecraft and Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I definitely wouldn't have guessed that these characters would be here back when I was playing Melee and Brawl, but here they are. In this game, you have your standard Smash battles where you can play with friends, but you've also got the World of Light, which is this game's story mode. I will admit, though, I still prefer the levels in Subspace Emissary a bit more. but having the World of Light here is a very nice addition. You also have the spirits to collect, which are similar to trophies from the previous games. They come in a variety of characters from all the different games, and trying to collect them all is so enjoyable. Again, this is another great Switch game full of stuff to keep you playing for hours, and I would say this is a must-play one before the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. Next up, we have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. This game is so good. There's so many improvements in this game, and some stuff I like more than Breath of the Wild. Unlike Breath of the Wild, this game brought back more traditional dungeons. At least kind of. They're still quite a bit different than the older types of dungeons, but at least they aren't the Divine Beasts. This game also features a ton of new weapons, and with the newly acquired ability you can combine stuff to your weapons to make them stronger. Say you have a stick, for example, well, you can combine that with a nearby stone and it becomes kind of like a hammer. There's so many different things to combine, letting you experiment a lot. Hyrule is mostly the same as it was in Breath of the Wild, except for the skies and the depths. The sky is okay, but exploring the depths was the best part for me. It almost feels like you've entered an underworld, plus there's a lot of cool stuff to find down there. But then you have the big gimmick in this game, which are the Zonai abilities. You have Ultra Hand and Fuse, which you can use to grab stuff and put stuff together. With these abilities, you can build vehicles, weapons, and even send down airstrikes on tough enemies. Yeah, it's pretty limitless. You also got Ascend, which allows you to climb through the ceiling to get to higher spots, which can come in handy for later parts of the game. While I may prefer the older 3D Zelda games, I can't ignore the fact that these games are creative and full of unique ideas that makes playing them a blast. So I would definitely recommend this game. Our last game of the day is none other than Breath of the Wild. I know putting 3 Zelda games here may be a lot, but it's my list and they're all worth playing. I think I prefer this game slightly over Tears of the Kingdom though. Firstly because it was the first game of its kind and it was so exciting exploring this new version of Hyrule for the first time. Also, I think I enjoyed the Sheikah Slate abilities more. Also, the Guardians were super cool too, and they're absent from Tears of the Kingdom, which I guess makes sense story-wise. And let's not forget Cass. What the heck happened to him, man? I miss his music playing skills. Anyways, this game was so unique and exciting when it came out, and Tears of the Kingdom may have been better in a lot of aspects. It didn't have the same new feeling that Breath of the Wild did. And a lot of stuff in that game just felt so familiar. This game also told its story a bit better for me, because in Tears of the Kingdom you get most of your story from the tears, and it's very easy to get the later ones first and see the story in a mixed up order. I prefer the story in Breath of the Wild personally. A lot of the stuff that I said made Tears of the Kingdom so good is the same in Breath of the Wild, so I don't have much else to say other than you should definitely play both of these games. And there you have 10 must-play Switch games for the Switch 2. If you enjoyed this video, I would love if you hit the subscribe button. We're so close to 1,000 subs. Also, I stream almost every day at 11:30 PM EST here on the YouTube, so feel free to come hang out. I plan on playing every Switch 2 game as it releases, but I think that will do it for me. Until next time, thanks for watching.